Want to see what it's going to happen here. Fenerbahce on the blue side as we get into picks and bans in Game 2. Isurus Gaming on the red. And now we get to see some of our theories. Will the jungle pool be contested from Kirei, or will Adi give him what he wants and try to go toe-to-toe with Kirei's comfort picks? Where will the focus be for both these teams in the draft? For now, the Jarvan taken off the board. Kirei doesn't want to see it.
And the last thing I'll say kind of about that more supportive style that can come out of mid lane, I do want to watch to see if Seiya goes towards the Zillion. Because I thought that they played that combo really, really nicely during their playoffs. And it does unlock Adi to be a lot more aggressive. This guy had a 20-minute Warrior Trinity Force Hecarim game where he was just running over the opposition teams. And, you know, if you are able to get that utility out of the mid laner, as we were talking about, can prove a great advantage in this pick ban.
And Spawn is also very, very good against Kindred on the off chance she's forced to use her ultimate. In those games, you just double bomb right on top. It sets your team up for success. But the Rise now being taken away from Ruin. No surprises there. Just generally a very strong champion in the meta, and more importantly, incredibly strong in the hands of Ruin. Karthus now banned out, so Kirei will be limited in the pool, but a lot of attention to jungle. That's 3 jungle bans already out of the 4 we have so far.
And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the reason we're talking about junglers is because there's some damn good junglers coming into that. And these teams know that the junglers are also very good. Then you throw in the mix of someone like Kirei that doesn't play standard junglers. You know, he's playing things like the Karthus, as we keep mentioning. Changes, once again, how you have to be able to approach this prep. Very interesting that back-to-back games, we've seen Akali taken away very early in the pick ban stage. This is a champion that I'm a big fan of, Dracos, and unfortunately not going to be able to see it play.
Tattooed on your arm, you love it so much, Spawn. I've seen you play it every single game you get the chance, and now we have to see if Hades wants to live up to his favorite champion. Of course, Yasuo abandoned nearly every single game in Fenerbahce's final, with the Kindred taken away, so that's both the priority picks from Kirei limited. Will it now be picked up here? What is the third champion going to be? The Taliyah, something he prioritized in the past, but of course not nearly as strong as it has been historically.
Yeah, I do want to point out this is the second time we've seen a team that has both the MVP and the Rookie of the Split on their team in Kirei and Balulu for Fenerbahce. And so many times, that's a Nautilus. We'll get to that in a second. I was going to say, so many times they just take Ruin's pick very early and kind of throw the scaling gauntlet. Nautilus, however, is a pick that we must talk about because it has started to rise in solo queue popularity. Has seen a little bit of mid lane play as well.
You're a fan of Vedius's picks to watch. That did get an honorable mention.
Absolutely. Proto Belt build, I think more likely going to go support just because of the amount of utility it has is incredibly high. But certainly one of those ease of execution, you know, team fighting champions that is so potent.
And the passive, of course, just so much value if you are able to proc it on every single member of the team. So much just CC on this champion. And now Hecarim and Aurelia immediately going to be the response. And on this patch, we talked about the strength of Ryze and Aurelia, 2 very strong flex pick champions, but will it be used as a flex by these teams? Aurelia, not a champion that Seiya has gotten his hands on, whereas on the opposite side, you know, not a champion that we've really seen from this Isurus Gaming lineup. This is something new.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that, you know, this is one of the exciting things because, once again, Hecarim can go top, can go jungle. It can be a top or a mid Aurelia, and whilst red side not generally known for the flex picks, that's where blue side is able to go toe-to-toe. If you do have a Sejuani jungle, all of a sudden you got triple melee top side of the map for a Sejuani to be able to play around. That is quite potent. See whether that is something they're interested in going for.
And now we have the Taliyah locked in. I feel like most likely going into the hands of Kirei, but I'm never 100% certain. Anytime we hit a new patch with new teams on stage, flashbacks to Pantheon Taliyah, I wonder if they'd be willing to flex it. It seems unlikely. But now it does feel a little bit more committed, at least to the jungle Taliyah and the top lane Jace. We could still be surprised, but the Galio making it a little bit further in draft than we're used to seeing, but will go over to the hands of Isurus Gaming.
Maybe even, you know, still a flex Jace coming out because you can, of course, throw that Nautilus down into the support position. So given the fact that Taliyah jungle does AP, you know, still able to get that balance on the top side of the map.
It's so true, but this is the best and worst thing about this year of League of Legends, especially coming from the LEC.
Anyone can go anywhere.
Anyone can go anywhere, and it's wonderful. And also, if you're an analyst out there, I'm sorry.
So maybe talking about what they do a little bit more, you know, a lot of early game power going to come out of Jace. Taliyah, if Taliyah is in a lane or in the jungle, does fly around the map very, very quickly. And of course, we always talk about Jace's early game power.
Yeah.
Very oppressive champion when you play against at the highest level. So I think, you know, a lot of early game flair coming out here from the Fenerbahce lineup. And at the same time, at Isurus Gaming, they certainly have team fight tools, very good dive composition coming out. But it takes a couple of items for, you know, most of these champions to come on board. You at least want Trinity Force on Aurelia before you start really looking for those skirmishes.
And see if the Hecarim is going to go into the jungle. What build will it be? Will it see the Warrior or will it be the Cinderhulk? We'll have to find out. Of course, now we see a lot of bot lane focus from Isurus Gaming. We have the Morgana and the Alistar taken away. On the opposite side, the Lucian. Will it be another 80 carry ban? Limit some of the more aggressive picks that War Angelus can play. Of course, not necessarily known for his early game, but still have to give him a decent amount of respect as he is a fantastic team fighting 80 carry.
And pretty interesting that they've gone with the Alistar ban, given the fact that I think, you know, Nautilus may be a lock for that bottom lane position. In saying that, I like Morgana is a flex pick. They can take it towards mid lane. Is very oppressive. Bind into Flick is just instant death at the moment. Too much damage coming out of Morgana Talia. So I think that apart from the Alistar ban, everything else right now making a lot of sense.
And the Varus now picked up, so it looks like Isurus now set up to have at least some priority over the bot side of the map. This threat of all-in from the Galio at all early levels is going to make it much easier for Varus to solo push that wave.
I was really impressed by Warangulus and Slow's positioning during team fights. And Varus, if played like on the edge of the threat range, you know, very high damage 80 carry that gets quite tanky just given the fact that, you know, has so much attack speed and life steal built into his kit. Slow also played a Tahm Kench game, obviously going to be on the Galio, but is a very good protector. And that is going to be mid lane Nautilus.
Mid lane Nautilus. I think we'll say, let's say mid lane. We'll see. We'll have a little bit of time. We have the scaling now in the hands of Hades, and of course the Braum as well, an incredibly powerful support, something to match the Galio. But I like that you bring up the Varus. It's a champion where late game, it feels like if you are an insane Varus player, you can get so much out of the champion, but it's definitely a high burden of execution. And now we see Aurelia going to the mid lane, Hecarim going to the top lane, Sejuani most likely set to go to the jungle. All right, confirmed.
Yeah, I like that because as soon as the Nautilus is locked in, you're like, okay, if he goes any form of AP, he's not going to be that tanky early on in the game, right? And all of a sudden, the full AD stack doesn't make all that much of a difference if you're looking at Isurus Gaming's lineup, just because they haven't got the hardcore pure tank that's going to come out instantly. I also think that they should have some good pressure coming out of this mid lane. And you gotta wait to think.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about mid jungle right now, because this is terrifying. Because whichever one gets the edge in the 2v2, it feels like the lane instantly ends, because the synergy between Sejuani and Aurelia is crazy.
But the thing is,
Nautilus Talia is also insane. The Nautilus hook pulls them through the field. I mean, there's so much setup CC in any Nautilus lane.
But you're so immobile, and you got to stand in the middle of the creep wave to clear the creep wave. I feel like you're begging to be ganked by the Sejuani if that's how you want to play the lane.
Spider not your way out, man. You just hook the wall, you walk away. It's fine. Yeah. We're gonna find out. This is the first Nautilus mid that we've seen on a competitive stage in a long time. Ever? Maybe I'm gonna say in a long time.
No, Doinby plays it, like, so I'll get out in front of it. You know, Doinby has played crazy things like Nautilus mid. Banner of Command Nautilus mid was also very impressive for the longest time. Thank goodness that item is no longer in League of Legends. But an exciting comp put together for both teams, nonetheless. I do favor Isurus Gaming's lineup. I just want that to be on record, Dracos. But see whether Fenerbahce can pull something out here.
And interesting to see what they drafted for Hades. Hades was a bit of a, a liability in their games in the final. Of course, going up against Sight Knight and Wolf was an incredible bottom lane. We're going to have to see how he does against War Angelus and Slow. Of course, legends in the LLA. It is Fenerbahce Esports on the blue side, Isurus Gaming on the red, ladies and gentlemen, as we enter our second game of the day. And Dark Harvest Talia.
One thing I will say is that the level 1 top side of the map for Fenerbahce, it's terrifying. You do not want to contest that top side of the map. You've got Nautilus passive, plus probably Hook, maybe spam E. Then you got the damage that comes out of both Ruin and Karay. I like this. Just slow it down, play a little bit passive, and I think that if Isurus have this way, this is going to be an incredibly standard, slow game that they can play towards that 1-3-1 threat.
And a certain degree of predictability coming in from Fenerbahce. Of course, the Nautilus is new, it's special, it's something different, but Sekire sticking to the expected champion pool. One of the first and the second are banned. He goes to the third. Now his 4th game on Talia this year. Maybe that will count against them, but I'm just... After last game, I feel like I don't want to have any deep discussion, Spawn, because I'm concerned that someone will die at any moment.
And I think this is like real strange, right? Because they got a Galio heading up here as well. They're obviously convinced an invade is coming. And I'm not so sure, because right now you can see Karay is on the bottom side of the Summoner's Rift.
Ward still stepping forward, though. Nock knows that there are no dashes here, knows that he can just sit on the edge of his range and he's fine.
Slow, you need to go bottom lane. Well, at least I think that's where he's laning.
Wait. All right. I think in yeah. If I'm correct here, Spawn, in Australia you call this a walkabout. He's going on a walkabout. He's having a good time now. If War Angelus has been able to catch all the CS thus far. We'll get a little bit of solo XP, so a fast level 2, but it does feel like a big sacrifice. And Seiya getting absolutely smacked in the level 1 trade here by the Nautilus. Of course, the Nautilus W is so incredibly strong. It's a damage steroid, it's a massive shield. If you cannot break the shield, you're going to take so much in the exchange, but not something that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, certainly isn't. And a bit of a strange path coming out here from Oddie. Sticking towards the top side full clear. You can see Curate matching it. Pop in on the bottom lane.
He was fourth. Braum now going to step forward 2-3. Nope, going to instead turn to War Angelus, try to extend the trade, but a positive trade in the favor of Fenerbahce using the XP advantage that they have currently.
And Dracos, experience is one of the most important things early on in the game, and the fact that Slow went on that walkabout you talked about, not able to pick up level 2 and just gets jumped on.
And I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt that there must have been something scrimming, prepping, leading towards this tournament, that they expected a late invade there, that they expected more members to show up and contest with this Taliyah, but at the end of the day, that kind of aggressive movement and maneuver does cost a lot.
False sense of security here, Ruin in trouble.
Buggax now stepping forward, the flash in, good use of the Q flash. Ruin now trying to flash out. Hammer form available. Kirei though, that's going to be a lot of damage coming up from the Taliyah. Buggax may have overstayed his welcome. Dark Harvest now going to proc, getting lower and lower. First blood dropping for Fenerbahce. Ruin playing that one nice and slow.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I think this is why there's a lot of excitement around this guy. You know, pretty calm as well, I would have to say, on the first gank. As soon as Oddie was no longer a factor in that, not able to apply the red buff continually, Buggax was just never going to catch him. This is an Ignite teleport Hecarim, which means he has no mobility. So let's check out how this starts, right? Good flash to kick it off, however, no instant proc of the stun. You can see that Ruin just able to kite them out, plays it nice and slow, and able to pick up the kill for himself.
And just the amount of damage between these two champions right now is so incredibly high. And when you look at this team, we talked about Kira already, we have to talk about Ruin as well, because these guys are the double threat that carried this team through the playoffs. And Buggax goes in to proc the Conqueror, but Ruin just doing so much damage with each rotation of his cooldowns.
And whilst Buggax got a couple of cheeky ones in on the back end of that trade, still certainly a negative trade. And when you're against a Jace that has full control of the minion wave like this, you know, he's always hitting, especially given the fact that he's got Doran's blade. He's going to be able to lifesteal up. And then you're just sitting underneath the turret as Buggax, like a sitting duck, legitimately just waiting to be dove. And you can see that mid lane right now, Fenerbahce have complete control of that lane as well. So it just gets scarier and scarier. You know, when Curé is able to go this deep into the enemy jungle, and you're getting shoved in, waves built against you time and time again, it just is terrifying to play the game.
And when Kirei is in an even game, you can see him farm, but when he smells blood in the water, this man is not afraid to go for the big plays. Does not connect on the seismic shove there, so nothing's going to come through, but already putting down so much pressure. And Audi wants to move up, but there's a mid laner there too, and it just feels like with the amount of pressure they're exerting on the map, Fenerbahce are at a constant man advantage in so many of these exchanges.
And that is just two creep waves slowly dying to the turret. You can see Ruin so comfortable with the vision his team's provided him, being able to take away all options. Bottom lane, some more action.
3 going to flash forward, trying to extend the trade. Now leaping out of the way though, Hades has to pull back. War Angelus not quite able to grab it. Chabona has to flash to safety. Hades still with the heal available. They opt not to extend the play. It's going to be flash. 3 summoners traded for 2, favorable for Isurus in the end.
But once again, this feels like another one of those games where, you know, top lane's an absolute train wreck if you're Isurus Gaming, and bottom lane, like, yeah, you want to trade. Like, you got an additional summoner spell? Well, they took 2.5 turret plates top lane, guys. We kind of need to get some more out of our bully lane than that.
And thank you, Observers, for highlighting the gold difference there. Yeah, that's massive. That's a serrated Dirk, 2 extra daggers. Buggax going to rush Tabby. It's going to be... Oh! Oh, get him! I take it back. War Angelus for President. He's bringing the game back.
That's actually really important because there's a lot of experience and farm sitting on that turret, so the fact that he was able to pick up the snipe there, kill was still available, and Hades obviously just didn't think it was going to kill him. This is a lane that I think now will have so much impact on the map, however, because Seiya gets towards his Tiamat. Hold that thought.
Seiya going to get locked up. Chain CC, the flash forward. Seiya trying to make it out to safety, trying to turn this play immediately. He's going to ult. Now the follow-up is here from Audi as well. Bolulu in trouble. The stun's going to come through. They're going to turn this one beautifully. Well played by Seiya and Audi. It looked like a death sentence, but they managed to make it out.
So damn aggressive from the mid laner of Isurus Gaming, just able to turn the gank instantly. And that's what I was going to say. If he can get mid lane priority, all of a sudden the turret dives that were under threat for Buggax no longer available. We've seen Isurus Gaming lean heavily on their mid laner, almost to a crux point And, you know, the fact that Oddie is playing this Sejuani just gives him so much more area to outplay. You saw how quickly they applied that Sejuani passive.
And a good look overall to confidently, in a tough scenario, turn it around in an instant. And level 6 coming through for Oddie is huge as well, because the Sejuani ult is now up and available. And take a look at how this plays out.
And it looks like it's going to be a perfect gank. And all of a sudden, if you're Correa, you start doubting whether you can look for these plays. You see the passive stacking up there on Balulu, and Slow was also rotating towards the play. They obviously had a very good idea of where this was going to come from, and impressive from Seiya, to say the least.
And Talia's just that champion where you want to keep everyone kind of at arm's length, and when you're not able to land that combo, when you aren't able to land multiple threaded volleys, you just can't get anything. And we go from Balulu looking very comfortable, very confident in this lane, but now Aurelia with the T-Mat, able to match some of that push pressure, and Seiya and Audi starting to come online. This is a good sign, because top lane still has to be very scared. Bugax going to be in trouble here. Knockback is going to come out. Kire is right there. Not giving him a lot of options. He's going to dash to safety, wants to make it out. Wall coming in. Kire not going to follow, though. Bugax is going to make it out to safety, but has to give a lot up in exchange on the play.
And you can see that Bugax is just right now trying to lose as little as possible. So you see, going to be an Infernal Dragon, traded from Isurus Gaming, but I love the pressure coming out from Ruin. We said that he can play weak side. Well, he's showing right now a very good strong side performance. Is potentially going to take another plate and a half off that top lane turret. And this is starting to become a pretty devastating top lane discrepancy.
And you start to see why so many teams banned Jace against 1907 Fenerbahce in the regular season and in the playoffs, because Ruin can be terrifying. He can be this, you know, top lane carry threat. And Jace is one of those champions where the theoretical output is so high, but we rarely see players convert on it unless they are the best of the best when it comes to Jace. But in this game, Ruin definitely asserting his dominance.
Pressure bot.
He's going to come in, not going to have the chance to amp up, but the chain CC is flawless. Rocket jump, not going to save him. Hades taken out once again. Isurus finding a weak point and just pressuring.
Yeah, Isurus Gaming throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. You say flawless chain CC. I say probably, you know, if you look at how they overlap, couple hit at the same time, potentially.
Way too much WoW Arena. Just give me the credit.
But at the same time, you see more pressure being exerted bottom lane. So all of a sudden, it's like 1 versus 2 lanes winning.
Turning back slow, needs to be careful here. One more auto is going to stun him up. Kire trying to find something, but the creep wave is there to block, and War Andalus is just unconcerned. Now out of mana, though. Bugax needs to be careful. Ruin has a Youmu's, is just going to move in. He's going to, oh no. Empowered auto, going to do it in the end. Ruin absolutely cleaning up in the 1v1.
Certainly is, and he's like, can I catch him without burning the flash? In the end, just expends the summoner spell, Dracos. But this is a decimation from Ruin. He can nearly take that turret. It's going to have to be a second teleport burn up here. 2 levels already ahead. Like, Bugax is the same level as Oddie. This is not a good situation to be in as a top laner. Not to mention all of the items stacking right now in the Jace's favor. It's not going to get any easier. I don't think even Jace falls off as bad as people makes out. This is just going to be a nightmare to play if you are the Hecarim.
Oh, low on mana. Seiya taking a lot of immediate damage. Ulti is going to come in. Galio ult now coming. They're trying to turn it to follow up. There's the CC comes through. Seiya going to grab the kill instantly. Nautilus a little bit too confident there. Felt very comfortable when the Aftershock was up, but the second it fell off, he just got deleted.
And in back-to-back games, we've seen top lane swing heavily in one team's favor. Hold that thought, because Bugax thinks he can get a play.
Kire. Bugax now needs to run. Of course, does have the ultimate available. Oh no. I don't even know. He's going to try to use it. Unstoppable. Ruin going to swarm swap here in a second. The sidestep, not enough. Ruin now on a killing spree, and this is brutal. Hecarim is not a champion that scales gracefully. Spawn. This is a champion that when it is put down, it does so little. And Jace is not the kind of champion that gives you time to scale either.
And at a certain point, you know, you stop losing gracefully as well. And this is starting to turn into a massacre on the top side of the map. I mean, that's kind of inexcusable play from Bugax. He sees the TP come through into the mid lane. He should be able to count out the amount of time it's going to take. He should know that he can't get that plating. Instead, gets greedy for it, thinks I have to gamble to get myself back in the lane. I was actually going to compliment Isurus Gaming, because I was going to say, even though top lane is a disaster zone, you know, mid lane, certainly going in the Aurelia's favor. You can see bottom lane also starting to swing back pretty heavily, to be honest. So I think that, you know, that death there kind of is inexcusable. But at a certain point, you have to kind of say, all right, I'm a pure tank Hecarim. I'm going to allow my team to provide the damage. I'm going to be a frontline. It's just constantly dying over and over again.
And it's an interesting point because top lane is so incredibly strong right now for Fenerbahce. Ruin is above and beyond. This is the domination from a Jace that people dream about when you pick this champion. On the other side, though, mid lane, everyone else on the Isras Gaming lineup, where top is being put into a dumpster, no doubt. This man is being obliterated. The rest of the map is actually making very good plays, is capitalizing on their advantages. 2 kills in the bot lane. The Nautilus has been taken out, and so while gold is probably going to be pretty even, Fenerbahce, all that gold is on the top side of the map. Everywhere else is spread so evenly for Isras.
So now it becomes down to execution, right? So if you're Fenerbahce, you're just like, let Ruin take every turret on the map. You know, we're going to take top lane turret eventually. He's going to swing bottom lane. They're going to swap because they're going to want to continue to have their strong point against the weak point. We just keep taking down turrets, and we're going to have more access to turrets because our split pusher is a person in such a commanding lead. At the same time, if you're Isras Gaming, this is where you start thinking, you know, where do we force? What objectives are coming up? Is there a Drake that we can have a look at? But, I mean, he has no chance of getting out at this stage. It's already done. As soon as he takes those, you know, 3 or 4 cheeky swings at the turret, he's going to fall down just because of the speed of Ruin and Karay and the consistent damage they're able to bring.
You see Ruin on the screen, very calm, very composed, very collected. And the gold slightly in favor of Isras, all things considered. Once again, Jace can still kill anyone in a 1v1, but the gold much more evenly spread on the side of Isras, and you have to wonder if Isras start to force for these bigger objectives to try to get things in their favor, because they do have enough immediate CC that if Jace is ever caught out, that even gold suddenly turns into a very Isras favored fight if they can just take the Jace out of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they do have the tools to be able to do it, right? They've got the Sejuani ult. It's going to be hugely impactful in these team fights, and then they've got an Aurelia who has been able to get it accelerated and will be devastating at this stage of the game, going for a very, I guess, sensible build given jungle mid duo, but will mean that probably can't side lane versus Ruin in the next couple of minutes, going for that wit's end build.
Of course, once completed, we'll offer a little bit of sustain as well with the changes that came through, so let him very comfortably just remain in mid lane, but will not help him fight the juggernaut on the enemy team that is Ruin. And Ruin will now break the top lane tower, and this is where we could see the pace of the game start to change. Spawn. Will Fenerbahce, with his advantage, start to open up the map, start to rotate him around, or will they let him just continue to dominate Bugax in this 1v1?
And the fact that Bugax's mistakes kind of snowballed and compounded into that Herald as well means that now potentially Say is going to start paying for it. Or maybe they just take a bottom lane and try and extend Ruin's lead, you know, in that area. They're actually sending him back top, which is quite interesting. You know, Ocean Drake coming up next, potentially want to look to fight for that, so they're just going to send him up there, try and push out as far as he can, rotate down through the jungle. But you can see pretty good control of the bottom side of the map coming out from Isras Gaming, and you know, always that threat of a dive coming in when you have slow there with the Flash Taunt available, as well as Oddie's ultimate still up.
Always have to be careful though. Kire moves to the top side, they have the Herald available, they can start to break multiple towers. Kire is opting to back off. Seiya just playing forward in this matchup. Cannot look for the dive, I think, on his own at this stage. Portobello on the way for the Nautilus will be a nice spike in damage, potentially help this matchup, but War Angelus and Slow, with all the members they have on the bottom side, free to step up, free to threaten here, free to take at least that one tower plate.
You can see Karay now hovering that bottom side. At the same time, even though equal numbers top side of the map, Ruin just has a field day. He's 40 CS up, you know, pretty much a full item ahead. He's an item and a half ahead, in fact. However,
Knockup. Top lane is now coming down. Audie's here as well. They're going to need to find an instant kill. They have to be careful, and Power Shock Blast connecting on Seiya means that fight is over. They need to back away. Audie now on the retreat, finding the stun and just simply backing off. Hecarim is here, but Bugax, I think you just need to get back to the top lane and farm.
I guess that kind of answers our questions, however. Is Ruin strong enough that he's going to be able to deal with this Aurelia? Well, they've dropped the Rift Herald. They're looking to break mid lane turret. And Ruin just exerting his will over Summoner's Rift right now.
And just incredible to watch how strong this Jace has been. Now with the Herald, they're going to be able to break mid lane tower before the tower plating has fallen off. Huge amount of gold. Ruin even backing off to let other members on his team grab that to spread the advantage to the rest of the squad. Now they could move down to the ocean if they want to, but low mana bars. Isra now seeing this as a potential opportunity to find something back in exchange. For now, though, the Herald has to be their focus. It'll be killed before it can find the second charge.
And you can see top lane that whole time was building. Bugax's creep wave is pushing against him, so Ruin's going to get a further advantage off that play because Bugax felt like he had to come down and support his team. Fight bottom lane.
Stun's going to connect, but input buffer there for Brom. He is able to get it out as the taunt does come through. Japone now on the backside. Audie going to step forward. It's just barely going to land the slow. Arrow comes through. War Angelus sniping out another one. Wall coming in. Kire on the way. Audie potentially in trouble, though. Not going to find the knockback. Seismic Shove will not find purchase, so Audie will be able to walk away. Hades has to be careful. Kirei here as well. Backing off, but the bot lane's so incredibly close. Audi coming, looking to rinse and repeat. Kirei thinking that he has the advantage, but Audi now on the way in. No ulti for Sejuani, chilling smite there, but Audi just has to back off. So much attention on that bottom side from both sides.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I wonder when Fenerbahce finally just go for the lane swap. You can see Jace heading towards the mid portion of the map. I would like to see them just get Jace into the bottom lane, try and open up that last turret, because you can see that Warungalis and Slow just continuing to build advantages for themselves. You know, that's a 2-0-1. Varus hasn't had access to the turret as much as would have liked, but has been able to be impactful in the lane. It still is only 2,000 gold, and I would say majority, if not all of that, still held on Ruin. So they need to be careful on how they swing the strong point of Fenerbahce around the map. Sirius Gaming still certainly have tools in this game.
It will be difficult, however. As you mentioned before, Ruin was almost at 2 items. He's hit that point now. Spawn with the Black Cleaver with the Yomus. This is such
stopwatch.
Such a powerful Jace, and now the free boots have come through as well, so no one can be left alone in a side lane, and most of these champions are not, if they ever go in, don't really have a good way to get out, so have to be very careful about playing up against Ruin, about letting him get anything done on the map. For now, he will return to the top side. It looks like they are going to try to find a pick. Japone potentially caught out here. Can leap back to Kirei, Slow stepping forward, knock back to the team, but the taunt will not connect. A lot of damage there onto Audi. Passive has now fallen out. If Fenerbahce want to extend the trade, and Hades definitely does. Has to be careful. The ulti comes out from Say, a beautiful dodge to stop the engage, but that's the hook connecting. Varus now in a tough spot. A lot of immediate damage. Protobell forward. Oh, just to lead. It's so much damage coming in from the AP Nautilus. Audi now in trouble. They're trying to turn it back. Say has a lot of damage output, but not able to hit anything comfortably. Maxed range hook means Blow Lulu is going to grab yet another kill. Kirei firing home. No mana left there, but will stay around just for a bit more pressure. Hades, a bit cheeky to step forward, but unconcerned. And meanwhile, on the top side, Ruin is activating a stopwatch for no reason, but doesn't really matter because he's still going to run in and just smack him in the face. Oh, it's cyberbullying, Spawn.
That is a disaster. That is a swag stopwatch. Takes the turret, takes the kill. Ruin is taken over, and even worse for Sirius Gaming, they just lost the 4v4 with their strong members. This game has very quickly got out of hand. Now a 4,000 gold lead. And the swag stopwatch just caps it off for me, because you can't feel good about any portion of this game now if you're Isserus.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Swag, sure. Got him. Japone, good escape here. I was nervous when that seismic shove hit that the taunt might connect, but very slow, patient fight for Fenerbahce, and you can see Isserus Gaming just aren't ready for a re-engage.
Yeah, and this was really nice out of Hades, because if that ultimate lands, Seiya starts resetting, you know, the strength of this Nautilus certainly seen. That's a one-hit. So able to get the full combo out, and it looked like they would be able to turn it back, but just no options here. Take another look at that stopwatch, shows off his bling, and then still goes for it. Misses every ability as well, and then just whacks in.
Hammer form, baby. To the sky.
I love it.
Hit him with a thundering blow. And we've got a note from production. Boogax. Apologies to all the Latin American fans. Not Bugax, Boogax. We got it. We always do this at play-ins. We always miss one. We practiced Japone.
Yep.
We missed Boogax. We got him. Boogax, getting blasted. Sorry.
Yeah, it feels even worse now. He stopwatched in front of you. The casters can't say my name correctly. I'm 040. This is a game that Boogax wants to forget real quickly, Dracos.
We have time. Plenty of games today. And of course, things getting scarier and scarier. Bolulu was getting picked on to a certain degree in the mid lane earlier on, but now that he has the proto belt and a few more items under his belt as well, just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. We saw him basically 100-0 War Angelus in the last play, who's supposed to be one of the stronger members of the team. So now it feels like burden of execution is definitely on the side of Isserus to try to find some advantages, to try to get back into this game.
And I feel like somehow you have to get Seiya like towards the Trinity Force and then into Ruin's lane. Not gonna happen here though.
Has to back off. Can try to dash, but will dash right into the field. There's just too much damage there. Despite getting the wit's end, still
they want to continue this fight here.
Boogax running for his life. Hades will get locked out. Good opportunity. CC goes in, just immediately taken out. Boogax gonna grab a kill. Now the retreat. Rando's gonna try to clear out the mid lane, but so many members of Fenerbahce coming behind them. Massive shock blast is going to hit 3. Ruin fearless as he steps forward. Slow trying to find something, but there's the knockback. Looks like they will just pick off Slow. He will be the sacrificial Galio. Taken out as the rest of his team retreats. And Fenerbahce, just now that the laning phase has been broken up, we wanted to see them convert their leads, and they absolutely have.
And just a class of Ruin there, you know, looks like he's chasing blindly, and we saw Mimic flash while he was asleep last game. A little bit of a difference in these top laners, just casually sidesteps out of Any form of danger there and will mean slow falls down. Fenerbahce look like they're dealing with the pressure of expectations of, you know, the Turkish league very well in this game so far. They have built themselves that 4,000 gold lead, and Seiya is kind of that shining ray of light, but at the same time, when they bring 4 people towards your lane and trap you in a corner, there's not all that much you can do.
This is one of the issues with the matchup between...
This is a bad play from Hades. I mean, you kind of hate to see it, like nice mechanical play, buffers, able to knock him back, but you cannot rotate that way when you know that they're trying to answer topside as well. This is what I was talking about from Ruin, just very casual sidestep, the bait slow into his death. So very nicely played from Fenerbahce. Apart from the fact that Hades got caught there, you'd like to see him tidy that up, because against maybe someone like PBB, those little picks start to be a lot more impactful. Having a 0-5 bottom lane, even though you were up 4,000 gold, certainly not ideal.
And those little mistakes, of course, that a team like PBB will exploit, and something we have to track in the games to come. For now, very much on the back foot, will be a late game scaling threat, but currently, I think mostly on farm duty, may get 1 or 2 flashy plays with a rocket jump, but outside of that, not the guy that we expect to be the big difference maker in the game thus far. Infernal Drake being picked up for this team is pretty massive, pairing it with the Ocean that they already have, and you can see absolute control of the bottom side from Fenerbahce.
Pretty value Infernal as well. When you look at down the line, that's going to be 4 members building damage stats coming into this game. You know, not a heavy focus on tanks. Still think there are answers for SRS Gaming, however. They have got themselves a very good team fight. They are in some trouble now.
He's going to back off, not putting the knock up there. He's trying to sidestep as much. There's just too much. There's too much CC. There's too much damage spawn. Seiya does not have the flash, I believe, just a few seconds before it was off cooldown. Could not make it out of that scenario. And now Fenerbahce set up to take this bottom tier 2. War Angelus can come in. Dash forward with the ulti, a good slow there. Bolulu has been caught out in the middle of the team, slow now on the way in, but the ult just mistimed by War Angelus, and that kind of fumble was going to stop the play in its tracks. Almost the perfect timing, but a few milliseconds too early and not able to connect there with the VAR assault.
Because you could see Hades was actually going to stay and hit mid lane turret, so that would have been a genuine 3v3 if that CC was able to connect. But, you know, little errors, pressure creeping into SRS Gaming. Like, you throw that, if you're War Angelus, 100 times, you probably miss, 4 or 5 of them at this level. Stopwatch, very easy audio cue to be able to tell when people are coming out of it. But unfortunately, this is one of the fumbles that you do see, one of those unforced errors that costs your team even more. Which means they can't fight back in, a meaningful way, because that should have been a trade of kills there, which would have been able to stall this game out a little bit more effectively.
And it does feel like every time Seiya is sitting on a side lane in positions where he thinks he's going to be safe, Fenerbahce is not afraid to burn the resources necessary to pick up that kill to stop Aurelia from getting back into the game. And a lot of respect showed to Seiya across this game once he was able to find that lead in the mid lane. They've now pretty much never given him a chance to use it outside those first 2 kills.
Well, the really good thing about Bolulu is he just has very easy gank setup. If you are Curé, he just presses R on him, and no matter where the Aurelia dashes around, kind of sucks because he's dashing through pebbles and the ultimate is following him. At the same time, they've isolated Ruin into the Bugax matchup, which means it's just a 1v1. Ruin's not calling for any additional resources, and is 4 items versus 1, so doing fairly well. Pretty easy game to play if you're Ruin right now.
Fairly well. I like the soft commit there. He is absolutely dominating in the 1v1 matchup. Later we get, though, Hecarim, of course, going to scale quite nicely. Will threaten some of that backline.
I would say no matter how well you scale, you don't make up 3 item deficit.
Give him 20 minutes.
20?
Come on.
30? 5-ish?
Give him time. I won't commit to a number. It's definitely not right now, as you see massive trade in favor. For Bugax, it's difficult.
All right, it never gets better. I'm calling it right now.
You're calling it right now.
This
okay.
deficit stays at
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe that he will make it to that point, but we'll find out. For now, it feels like Fenerbahce absolute control of the state of the map and just difficult game to play out. Although Bolulu may just be in trouble. Set up there. Audi going to tank the tower. Now trying to find the reset. Seiya can wait on the ulti. Will get the timing right this time. No enforced error.
Nice interrupt.
Dash out. Audi though. He's going to make it out of safety as well, so just a very clean tower dive overall, but it opens up the bottom side of the map for Ruin to exploit, and he could just look for this inhibitor tower. Bugax has to be careful. He can't overcommit, just has to commit enough to force Ruin off the tower.
And does play that balance very nicely there. Seiya has stuck around, however. Now Curé looking for him.
Difficult.
I like that Audi dipped.
He knows. They back away. That's a ton of respect.
They just thought Audi was still there, I think. because Saya walked into the brush and acted as if his jungler was still around. I think that's one of the better bluffs I've seen, because if you dash forward as Saya there, the pebbles just come out.
And you die.
And you die.
That is a very strong Talia right now. Kire, level 13. Decent amount of Dark Harvest stacks, getting closer to the Hourglass, but also just a Void Staff right off the bat. Not concerned about the Wit's End. And this is one of those games where Saya's like looking back at the patch where the magic damage reduction got removed from Aurelia's W, and he's like, oh, please, Riot, please give it back. Sadly, no, my friend.
I think he needs a little bit more than that. I think that, once again, I really would like to see Saya try and go for a pick onto Ruin, because I think he's currently the only person that does anywhere near enough damage to put him under serious threat.
It's so hard, though, because it's hard enough to find the resets, the stun. There's a QSS there already. You have to, you just have to outplay it mechanically, and that's a huge burden where you know that if you do fumble and if you do lose that 1v1, you're putting yourself even further behind.
Well, they've got Oddie as well as Bugax to be able to help out in that situation. I just think that, you know, Ruin has gone top lane so many times that would have been able to be matched without threat of Baron picked up. You know, it's very hard when he's pushing the bottom lane inhibitor, but I think that you can try and sacrifice, you know, potentially the Infernal Dragon to look for that pick. Because unless they shut him down, unless they really do slow down this snowball that has been going since the start of this game, I think it just becomes very difficult execution to be able to take out the later this game goes.
Ruin in the mid lane, hovering above the Isbris Gaming lineup, forcing them to kind of pull back into their own jungle for safety. Infernal will be set in the sights of Fenerbahce.
So this is a problem, right? If you don't go for that play whilst he is top lane, he just rotates down, no threat at all, and is able to get the Infernal, and not really all that much Isserus Gaming can gain in response. Half a creep wave top. Bugax already going to go back to base. So, you know, understand that it is certainly a burden to put on your team, like trying to shut down the Fed member, but if you don't go for it, you're kind of restricting your own options. When you are this far behind, you have to take some risks.
Well, because now we're at the point where the global gold and the sheer weight of objectives is starting to bring Hades back to the game. It was an 0-3-0 Tristana, who now has a 200 gold bounty from the sheer amount of resources that have been pumped into him relative to the rest of the team. And, you know, on the way to 3 items, a huge break point for the champion. And he went from having that strength to no longer having it. Fumble on the ulti, and now the immediate turn. Saya gonna try to turn it back. That's the double stun. Galio ulti coming in. A lot of damage goes down. Audio immediately deleted. That's gonna be 3 hit by the Aurelia ulti, but Saya, it is not enough. Has to go through Pebbles. Cannot get any damage down. Hades now trying to take off. Backing off from War Angelus, giving him that bit of respect. But Bolu does so much immediate damage. Flash forward. The taunt still going to connect, however. War Angelus, clean movement from this fight. Can't try to turn it. Kire is going to get taken out. Oh, no. Once again, just a fumble on the timing, but Slow is there to back him up. Meanwhile, Ruin is breaking the inhibitor line, but War Angelus trying to find one, trying to find two.
So they will be able to turn it back around slightly, but as you mentioned, damage done. Ruin takes bottom lane inhibitor. Whilst all that is happening, you can see the impact that Kare is having in these team fights. Just creating so much zone that Saya can not go anywhere near. If Oddie's ultimate doesn't hit Kare, it really does a lot to nullify Saya's impact in this game.
And that's just a situation where we do see War Angelus put in a situation to succeed where he can't come out on top in some of those skirmishes. Of course, at the end of the day, they still lose. They still lose that inhibitor. They were in, you know, a position where they should have won the fight, but lucky that War Angelus is so comfortable in those high-pressure late-game scenarios that they were able to claw something back from a situation that could have just turned into absolute disaster.
Yeah, but once again, you know, a small fumble coming from the AD carry of Isserus Gaming. Would have liked to see him, you know, nail that second Zhonya's timing, be able to pick up the kill a little bit more effortlessly. Slow had to grab that one. I believe it was a shutdown coming out and across. That would have been much needed gold going over to the Varus, who has got 3 items and is starting to scale into this game. But, you know, without a Baron, without, you know, a big team fight, does seem that Isserus are going to be struggling, and Ruin now grouping with his team, letting that inhibitor do his job for him.
And now we get to judge Fenerbahce. How cleanly can they close out with a lead like this? We've seen already what Fongbu Buffalo can do. Now it's the test. Fenerbahce, they have massive leads across many lanes. 6K lead, double Infernal Drake. Can they close as cleanly as we saw Fongbu Buffalo? It's not as dominant of a lead, but this would be a good indicator for everyone out there trying to gauge relative strength of the teams in these groups.
See another invade coming in on this red buff.
Ulti is going to connect. War Angel's now trying to find the follow-up. Kire still incredibly swishy, just immediately deleted. Now they're going to try to continue the fight. Saya stepping forward, Ruin flashing over the wall. They won't commit for anything else. Does not want to risk it. And Ruin remains alive. 700 gold still available for anyone who will look for that shutdown.
But that is such a good news story because they're able to get the kill. And Bugax was just bottom, farming up the super creep wave. You know, eventually, with that pushing into him, if he collects the CS instead of letting them die to creeps, will get gold and will be able to get himself back into this game. Ruin now without the
level
flash
16,
available.
Level 14. No ulti available for Seiya.
Oddie is top side of the map, but they have vision of him.
Double sums, though. Is he backing observers? Is he backing right now? They're not. They're doing World League 2.
Teleport coming in, actually. They want to fight for this one.
Wants to commit Foley. Foley on the way in. 4 members coming up top side. Seiya going to be in trouble here. Gets the reset on the dash. Can now try to make it out to safety, but it's just too much upfront damage. Seiya still alive. Hades flashing forward, though. Wants the reset. Wants to leap right back into the safety of his team, and the fight continues in the favor of Fenerbahce, but instantly Bugax into the back line. Tries to find the disruption, and War Angeles is untouched. The bar's hitting home, but Bolulu finds the hook, connects it home, and Fenerbahce going to try to find the win. Bugax barely not able to find it. The Rampage is not there. That is the double kill for Ruin, and that is a massive fight for Fenerbahce.
And it was so close, Strakos, but without Kure in the 4v5, they are able to pick up the 4-0. They should be able to get Baron. You know, we said how they're going to go closing this game out. They actually say, you know what, to hell with the Baron. We're just looking for the end of the game.
They've used both their TPs, but massive wave here slow. The only one there to clear. 21 seconds to War Angeles, 13 to Seiya. It is a timer. Can they save themselves? Can they buy more time? But no, slow immediately taken out. The CC follow-up is just too clean from the side of Fenerbahce. They are now set to end this game, and Fenerbahce coming through, finding the win here, and shutting down Isurus in the first match of the day.
And a really impressive performance coming out of Fenerbahce, because they had a clear area of strength and a clear area of weakness. And I think apart from one time that, you know, was Hades getting caught out in the transitional play, I think that they played around that very, very nicely. They allowed Ruin to do his job, and they attacked Seiya in that side lane with Kure's Talia. I'm impressed. I think that that was a really good performance.
Overall, incredibly clean. And we saw the members that we thought needed to show up really show up. Ruin especially. And for Bugax, has to look back on the performance and ask himself some hard questions. You know, was this the right choice for a matchup? Can we afford to let the Jays go through next time we see these guys? A lot has to change for this team, but overall, Fenerbahce, now we have to wonder, can they actually contest toe-to-toe with PvB? Because I feel like we didn't learn a ton about PvP and our PvP